It's heavy. So it's called All the Things I Lost in the Flood, and it has a lot of pictures in it. It's many pictures, but don't let that fool you, because it's essays, really, about how language influences or changes imagery. Throughout my life as an artist, I've tried to put narrative and words and stories into imagery. So this is a series of essays about how I've tried to do that. And so at the beginning of the book, I wrote about really how language becomes representation, because we live in a less and less tangible world, and we live in a more representational world in which our things, jobs, people, places are digitized. They're in our phone. So we have this death grip on the phone, because it's so much is in there in representational form. And in terms of where you're going, what you're doing, what you can learn, it's really been gradually turned into numbers.
The incredible variety of media and artistic languages and media that you have tried out successfully in your life, virtual reality seems to be a new addition. We've seen your installation at the Biennale last year, which won a prize also, and it was very interesting. Maybe you would like to tell us a little bit more about what virtual reality is in your creative practice.
Yeah, for me, virtual reality is a wonderful way to realize my dream of disembodiment, because this is whatever I do as an artist, I have done for that reason, to be disembodied, to get lost. Now, you can get lost in a book easily, become somebody else, or go to another completely different place. You can get lost in a pencil drawing. You can get lost in the Scrovegni Chapel and inside all of those faces of Giotto. You can get lost, and in virtual reality as well. Now so it's not a perfect form. In fact, it's very clumsy. You have the headset. You have the, and it's heavy. But I really love it because you can fly. And also because you no longer have a body, really. Let's say somebody takes your picture and you're like this, and you're like, no, that's not me. I'm the one inside looking out at you. That's who I am. You can't take the picture of that. So in virtual reality, that's who you are.
You've spoken about very tangible things and virtual reality. How about Venice, which I think is a little bit in between? It's both real and imagined and unreal, because it belongs to so many narratives and people's dreams or descriptions and pictures in writing and so on. What is it like for an artist to come close to Venice and be challenged to maybe look at it from a creative point of view and for a possible project?
Well, I'm also from a slightly mythical city of New York as well, so I'm used to trying to get beyond the myth and see the other aspects of it. But I love the stories connected to it, and of course, maybe of all the cities, Venice is most connected to dreams, I think. So I always feel a floating sensation here, of course, and the closest I would come maybe is to Japan, where they are very aware that the whole country is floating. So, that there's this relationship to water that's very makes the whole experience feel like a kind of Buddhist dream.
You see Venice as a suitable champion, let's say, for debate on climate change and other more urgent issues that maybe are not the most immediate association with Venice, which is usually portrayed as a kind of pretty picture. But do you think Venice could be useful as a case study as a platform for a deeper and more complex debate on the urgent issues of our contemporary world.
Why not? I mean, the inventiveness of Italian design is so legendary, really, that and the very peculiarly individual solution of the MOS project, for example, is a great experiment, you know, and one that really a lot of cities are going to have to face, because we can't possibly afford to do that in New York, but we should. So what we're doing is all the buildings along the coast now are required to have their first story empty. There's nothing in it. All the new buildings have just a barrier for the sea. That's not going to help very much because the seas are rising. And so Venice certainly is in the forefront of that effort, and I think along with Holland as well. And so people who are really trying to think of ways to deal with that. So I think it's as a global design problem that people need to look to the places who are really trying to actually make something, which is, you know, in New York we're just waiting for the big wave. One of the biggest probably scenes in horror movies for us is the tsunami that's bigger than the Empire State Building, that comes from the rogue wave that comes from the middle of the Atlantic and covers the city. Many people's nightmare, I have to say, in it. And it's, of course, maybe not that dramatic, but it's a reality of the rising seas. And so one of the things that about where I come from is many people choose not to believe that. And it's a question of belief rather than investigation, really. So one of the challenges is to get people to think about it rather than to just, I believe that that's the wrong way to do it or that's the right way to do it.